I always like to kick off with a talk myself, just to set a good example for the night, and also just for people to be reassured, because they can just go, well, if that idiot can do it, then I guess I can. So I hope I can inspire you all. So I will now do my talk. If you could give me a round of applause as I go over to this microphone, which is the presenter's microphone over here. Thank you. So, obviously, the theme tonight is back to school. It's around that time of year. It's a new term. It's autumn. We're thinking about new, fresh things. Probably thinking about when we were all back at school with a little bit of nostalgia. Probably thinking about a new generation of kids that we might know who are going on and being inspired and thinking about ideas and stuff. We might regale them with some tales of this kind of thing. And it's a very nice, inspiring time. Except I can't feel that way because I am a professional pessimist. I think about school and I think about all these stories of exam results and school inspections and all this kind of terrorizing thing, and it scares me. It scares me that kids now have to constantly be put through this, and it seems very stifling, and I get really concerned about that. I particularly get concerned about it. I remember one example of this. This was a teacher who just left education after so many years, just because he felt like kids have been treated like numbers, and he made a little billboard to say, "Don't worry, kids, you can be creative." That was just one example I heard of this story. But yeah, I just feel like this system is basically just teaching kids to keep quiet and just conform and, don't be creative and don't think about that. And I get really, really upset about it. I get really, really worried. I particularly get worried about the shy kids out there, the ones that might not feel like leaping out and speaking and stuff. Particularly because, believe it or not, I was a shy kid. I know, it's surprising. And I'd kind of forgotten about this up until recently when I posted one of my Bettakultcha videos, and my old head school teacher made a note of saying, "Where's that Shung Lai I used to know?" which was really, really nice. I was like, oh shit, yeah, now I'm a loudmouth. What happened to me? And I felt like, yes, you know what, it seems to be that things aren't quite what they seem. I'd assume that there'd been something happening. I was quiet all the time, but actually, I was kind of silently maybe rebellion, but you didn't quite notice it in kind of ways that were kind of creative and kind of, a little bit out there. And I kind of call this disguised disruption. It's a new term you can use. You can take that home with you now. I was doing little forms of disguised disruption throughout. There's a few examples of this. Number one, when I was in school, I was had a school photo, and if you can notice, I refused to conform to the photograph. I didn't want to look at the camera, and what's also amusing about this is what one of my friend's dads noticed. It says, "I love Lewis's pose. It looks like he's praying for it to stop." I don't really remember this, but I'm pretty sure that pose says everything. And it seemed like that kind of little rebellion thing. Another example was I was wearing the school uniform, apart from after that year. For whole primary school, I just didn't wear the red jumper that we had, and I somehow got away with that. And I was talking to my mum the other day about this, like, how did I get away with this? I didn't know. I also did something that was very, very quite almost taking down the system. I was draining the resources almost in the way of the school system, because I used to steal lots of stationery, particularly coloured pencils. And I didn't just do it very quickly, like, you grab some pencils and put it in my bag. I actually planned this whole thing almost like very, very long term, almost kind of like a big heist. Because what had happened is in class, we used to get the pencils like this, all in different trays, and you have to go up and collect all the trays, and then you have to give all the pencils back. But every time, I would take one pencil less back. I was playing the long game. I was thinking about this long term. Like 1 week I'll have a blue crayon, 1 week next I'll have a red crayon. I was thinking, I was going to get there. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how many, do you know many 8-year-olds that do that kind of forward planning? For some reason I did that. And it just made me think, actually, you know what, if you don't hear about these big stars of kids doing big creative things or people in the world doing creative things, it doesn't necessarily mean that stuff isn't happening. There's some kind of disguised disruption going along. And I found that quite reassuring. There's probably kids out there that are secretly plotting to take over the world, plotting to be master criminals and all this stuff. And we just, you just don't hear about this, probably because they're a lot cleverer and they don't need to post it on Facebook all the time. So one of the things that made me think of is, when you see a kid and you go, you normally go, how was school? And they normally go, I did some stuff. That's not a great question to ask. Probably what a better question to ask is, in fact, don't even ask a question. Just look at them and go, I'm watching you. I know you're planning something. There you go. So that's my message for this is keep watch of the shy ones, because they're probably secretly plotting to change the world. Thanks very much.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can see others on the Bettakultcha YouTube channel. Subscribe now and you'll be notified when new ones are uploaded.